I'm not a perfectionist, because a perfectionist can't live with a mistake. I'm not a perfectionist, but I am an idealist, because I want it to be right, and I want it to be done well.
Well said from a true music industry pioneer, Dr. Roger Breland.
He's been honored for his influence on contemporary Christian and praise and worship music by the Gospel Music Hall of Fame.
The Chickasaw native traveled the world for 31 years as a leader of the award-winning group Truth. Dr. Breland is now influencing future music leaders at the University of Mobile.
He sat down with Eric Reynolds recently to talk about how lessons he learned on the road are helping others now. Here's the interview.
Music has always been part of my life. It's part of my heritage on my mother's side. We go back to the old Southern gospel days. I grew up a real lover of the big band era. And back in those days, in the 50s and early 60s, how could you be a Christian, and how could that work in church? And, you know, I was just kind of straddled the fence on what to do.
Today, no one would question Dr. Roger Breland's faith or his taste in music. For 9 years now, he has served the University of Mobile as a vice president and executive director of its Center for Performing Arts. Breland has given his years of experience in music ministry and the music industry to his students and the Gulf Coast.
I'm really not in the music business. I'm in the communication business. And music is the tool that I use to communicate a message. I want to teach our people here to be communicators. And that's very, very important to me. You know, music is simply the tool. I have 200 or 300 a day here, you know, and those lessons I learned on the road, and some of them it took me a long time to learn, I can now incorporate in what I'm doing with students here. I'm not a perfectionist, because a perfectionist can't live with a mistake. I'm not a perfectionist, but I am an idealist, because I want it to be right. And I want it to be done well.
The university's 24 musical and vocal performance groups have earned an international reputation of doing it well.
I think maybe God has used me to be maybe a maverick, to lead a change in what's happening in music and in the church today.
In 2000, Dr. Breland was honored as a Gospel Music Hall of Famer. He was recognized as a pioneer who revolutionized music ministry.
Contemporary Christian music kind of hit after I graduated from college, and it flowed from the West Coast to the East Coast. And by the time it got to Mobile, I was working in a church here, and I started out with 18 kids in a youth choir and wound up with about 160. And as I saw that change and saw what it did in the lives of youth, it really spoke to me. And all of a sudden, my years of longing to be able to use instruments in religious music, horns and rhythm, became a reality.
God has always had a people. Many a foolish conqueror has made the mistake of thinking that because he had forced the Church of Jesus Christ out of sight, that he had...
Well, folks began to come. We had people that were not coming to church. All of a sudden, they were coming. The pastors began to say, hey, this music kind of makes sense to this generation, and they're coming. I think it revolutionized the church.
On to the ages they marched. The church, God's church, triumphant, alive and well.
The legendary and award-winning group Truth was born. A then 27-year-old Roger Breland hit the road taking this new church music to the world.
I thought, if you do a good concert, everybody's going to like it. No. The pastor walked up to me and said, well, we have a problem. He said, well, I'm not worried about being too loud, but the problem is your hair's too long. If you guys go down the road and get a haircut, then you can play here tonight. I was shocked. We do about 320 concerts a year. We do one-nighters, and it was 31 years, and we traveled 3 million miles and done 10,000 concerts. We recorded about 700 songs, made 60 albums.
There were 400 members of Truth over those 31 years. I asked Dr. Breland, how should all of them be remembered?
My legacy and the legacy of Truth is not the songs. It's the people. And some of them are very, very successful now. It's just amazing, all of the people. I think I have 60 people working in Nashville. Most of them have gone on to do things like teachers and pastors and missionaries, and some even work for these huge mission organizations. So my greatest heritage are the people.
Thank you. In the 1960s,
that 31 years on the road prepared me now to do what I'm doing. And you know what? It has been the best job I've ever had.
And we're going to do all kinds of music tonight. So you just wait. We're going to do one you like, and we're even going to surprise you in some of the things.
I've had more fun. It's been more satisfying. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity.
Thanks again for coming. We're honored to have you. God bless you.
In Mobile, Eric Reynolds, Fox 10 News.
Dr. Breland credits his wife Linda for her faithfulness in raising their family during his 3 decades on the road with Truth.
Avalon, Natalie Grant, and For Him are just a few of the ones who rode the bus with Breland. Truth was a launching pad for their success, and they're still giants in the industry today. Well, the new iPad goes on sale